Hello, everyone. I'm Jeff Egberg. Technical and functional interviews are where companies shift from checking who you are to checking what you can actually do. Your reasoning, your approach to problems, your understanding of tools and concepts, these become the primary focus. This chapter is designed to help you experience and prepare for these rounds through RiseOn's adaptive technical interviewer. It behaves like a domain expert, someone who already understands the role and now wants to understand how you think. The tone becomes more analytical, the flow becomes more layered, and the conversation becomes centered on depth, logic, and practicality. Companies run different types of technical evaluations depending on their hiring process, and RiseOn replicates all of them using adaptive question generation. You may encounter a round that checks your understanding of core technical or domain concepts. This round focuses on the fundamentals behind your role and adjusts in complexity based on your experience level and the job description. You may experience a practical execution round where the focus shifts to whether you know how to actually perform tasks required in the role. There are rounds where you face scenario based or case based problems. In these situations, the interviewer gives you a real problem you might face on the job. The purpose is not to test theory, but to see how you apply it. RiseOn generates realistic scenarios based on your job title and domain. You may also go through a project or portfolio deep dive. Here, the interviewer picks one project from your resume and explores it in detail. RiseOn identifies key elements in your background and generates follow-up questions that probe your decisions, the challenges you faced, and the impact you created. Some evaluations focus on how you approach ambiguous or complex problems. These rounds test your problem-solving and reasoning style. The structure of your thinking often matters as much as the final answer. RiseOn evaluates how you break down problems and justify your choices. In certain roles, especially mid and senior ones, you may face a technical managerial round. This evaluates your ownership, your trade off decisions, your collaboration logic, your prioritization, and your understanding of stakeholders. RiseOn simulates this through advanced follow up patterns and more strategic questioning. Often, the process ends with a final technical validation round. This verifies your consistency, your decision making maturity, and your readiness for real work. RiseOn can tighten its evaluation tone to mimic this final round depth. Technical interviews also include scenario selection. For the walkthrough in this chapter, we use one example: role based technical evaluation, problem solving focus. In this scenario, RiseOn behaves like a domain expert who wants to understand how you approach real problems, make decisions, and apply your skills practically. During the interview, you can open Mimic AI to see how you would answer the question at your absolute best. Mimic AI does not show a generic expert answer. It generates a polished, high quality response based entirely on your profile, your background, and your target job. It becomes a reflection of your strongest possible self in a technical interview. For coding questions, Mimic AI creates solutions that match your experience level using logic structures you are expected to use, optimizations appropriate for your abilities, and explanations written in the languages and tools connected to your profile. For practical and execution based questions, Mimic AI shapes responses using workflows and tools you are familiar with. It uses the terminology common in your domain and builds steps that are realistic for your role. For scenario based questions, Mimic AI generates a response that aligns with your problem solving style, your seniority level, and your exposure to real world cases. It models how someone with your background would handle complexity. For functional roles, Mimic AI creates role aligned responses using relevant frameworks, domain specific vocabulary, and examples that reflect your resume. The communication style also adjusts to match your field and industry expectations. Every Mimic AI answer is essentially your answer, perfected. It helps you understand the standard you can realistically aim for, not a version of someone else, but the best version of you. After completing the round, you receive detailed feedback focused only on technical performance. This includes your strengths, your weak areas, gaps in concept or execution, the quality of your reasoning, your domain clarity, the depth of your project explanations, and the soundness of your decision logic. You also receive targeted recommendations that help you improve specifically for your role, not generic interview tips. Technical and functional interviews measure much more than knowledge. They measure the way you think, the way you work, and the way you solve problems. RiseON Interviewer recreates these rounds using the same layered and adaptive questioning that real evaluators use, helping you build confidence, structure, and technical fluency before you walk into an actual interview. In the next chapter, we move into managerial and behavioral interview mastery, where RiseON evaluates your leadership, your ownership, and your problem solving personality